So the question they asked me that was this: if you cross the deadline. So they asked me that if you cross the deadline, how will you ask the manager for extra time? So they asked me this question. So we follow this four patterns: situation, task, action, result. Situation, task, action, result. And following these four patterns, we can answer any interview question in very structured manner. You might be thinking, what is the plan? Now in the action part, we present completed updated plan. So these are the four steps. First, to analyze the issue. First, to analyze the issue. Second, we estimated realistic timeline. Third, we inform manager early. We mention the transparency. And fourth, not only communicating with the manager, but also providing an extra strategic way. That means we presented a completion plan. That this is how we can plan. So these are the four step actions we do. Now how will it as an interview?
Welcome back to the next session, guys. So recently I gave a one-line assessment, and that was from TCS. Actually I have been giving quite a good number of assessment, but TCS was different because in their assessment they asked me a question related to be like, if I fail in a question, yes, suppose I'm allocated a project, and if I fail in that project, so how will I request the manager for the extension of the deadline? The question that was the headline in the thumbnail. So they asked me that question, and that was actually I was already prepared for that round of question, but they suddenly asked me the question, and I thought, how will I approach this question? So today we'll be discussing about that type of question. So I thought to make video per week as possible, whenever it's feasible for me, to all those topics, that what will be the questions, what are interview topics asked, or other languages like Java, JavaScript, SQL, Spring Boot, microservices, etc. I'm especially specialized in all these technologies and other technologies also. So in this today's session, we will be discussing the question they asked me on the interview, on the TCS interview, and the question was, let's look at the question. So the question they asked me, that was this: if you cross the deadline. So they asked me that if you cross the deadline, how will you ask the manager for extra time? So they asked me this question, that if somehow I cross the deadline, how will I ask the manager for extra time, but professionally. They gave me 2 minutes to think, and then there are 5 minutes allocated. How will I answer? So for answering such type of question, I was already prepared, and I will be discussing you the standard format. So mainly we should use star format for answering that things. If you don't know what is the star format, this is FANG, especially Amazon's leadership principle that you must follow while you answer anything in the interview. So star stands for first S, that is star for situation. That what was your situation, that things. Here set the context, what happened. So in situation context, we actually tell about what happened, what was the situation. Second, the T factor, the second factor, that is task. We think of, in this section we actually cover the responsibilities as per the question, as per the situation, what are our responsibility, the tasks. Now the actions, now the third point we discuss about actions, we follow it. So in actions we actually cover that what are the actions we took to complete the responsibility. If there was some responsibility, so what are the actions we took. And the next portion, that is the result. In result portion, so after taking all the actions, what become the result, what was the output. So we follow this four patterns: situation, task, action, result. Situation, task, action, result. And following these four patterns, we can answer any interview question in very structured manner. You might be thinking, why should we follow the STAR method? So let's look. Okay, we are in the next slide. So the question was, if you cross the deadline, how will you ask manager for extra time? And in that case, we will be following the STAR method. I have already discussed, that is situation, task, action, result. So what happens is, the candidate situation will be describing here the candidate situation. So when most candidates hear the question, they think this is about failure. Most of the candidates get failure, but the elite engineers, the smart engineers know this is not about failure, because what company understand, actually company tests our accountability. They test our accountability, they test our communication skill, they test our leadership under pressure, that if we can handle the situation, we can handle the context, certain context in the situation. And the most important, they take out professional ownership, professional attitude. So they check all those important qualities. They don't actually check your English or English grammar or how do you talk. They check all those qualities. Now companies do not expect engineers to be perfect. This is written here. They expect engineer who can handle pressure intelligently. So our main marking in that situation depends on how we handle the pressure. So if we don't follow the structure, our answer become emotional and scattered. Especially my first question also become the emotional. The first question was that one, I also become emotional and scattered. But if we follow the STAR method, our communication becomes executive level, professional, and solution oriented. That's why we should follow always the STAR pattern. So this is the STAR pattern situation. We have actually talked about the situation. If you study this section, so you will get the more idea. So let's discuss how will we actually replay. So from this section we start like a interview. I mean, suppose I'm in interview and I will be teaching you in such a way that how you should also talk as an interviewee. First we will be talking same to same like a candidate, and once done then I will make you understand how to create the brain diagram, brain image. So suppose I'm interview, so I'll be answering like this. Suppose I noticed that the project timeline was at risk because of unexpected technical complexity, dependency delays, or additional testing requirement before deployments. So this is a situation context I will be telling in the interview like this. So what we tell, first we start with a smartness, that suppose I noticed the project timeline was at risk because of unexpected technical complexity, dependency delays, or additional testing requirements before deployment. So we start, this was our situation, and in situation we are narrating, we are describing about the basic scenario possible that can happen, that unexpected technical complexity, dependency delays, what actually whenever we work in real production grade system, we saw dependency mismatch error, a lot of error actually come, or additional testing requirements, sometimes unit testing, JMeter type of testing. So some testing requirements before the deployment they came. So we start with that initiation, that suppose I notice the project timeline was at risk because of unexpected technical complexity, dependent delays, or additional testing requirements before deployment. So after the situation, now comes the task part. That was my responsibility part. What was my responsibility? What responsibility I took at that situation when that situation occurred? So I'll be narrating like this. My responsibility as an engineer would be to ensure that the product remains stable, scalable, and production ready, while also maintaining transparent communication with the manager and stakeholder. So notice the important point, I am actually acknowledging my responsibility as an engineer, and also maintaining a transparency. Here the most key factor is transparency, that we maintain transparency here. So my responsibility as an engineer would be to ensure that the product remains stable, production ready, while also maintaining transparent communication with the manager and stakeholder. So I will be telling about the task like this, that my responsibility as an engineer would be to ensure that the product remains stable, scalable, and production ready, while also maintaining transparent communication with the manager and stakeholders. So after we have acknowledgement our task, that this was our task to maintain transparent relationship with the manager and the stakeholder, we move to the actions part, that what actions we take. So before we move to the actions part, we actually create brain diagram here. So first, actions. In actions we actually analyze the issue. So we actually perform the actions step by step. So first we analyze the issue. What we do, we identify the root cause of the delay and its impact. First we analyze the situation, why the situation was occurred. We identify the root cause and delay, why it was delayed and its impact. Then we move to the second portion, that is estimate realistic timeline. Then in that scenario we actually calculate the timeline, because in this case what we need extension of time. So we calculate smartly, we perform calculation that how much time we need, because the entire corporate industry works on accuracy. So we actually determine that the number of days we need. Suppose we estimate the realistic timeline, like suppose we say here we need 7 days here, 7 days. So after that is done, we move to the second and third portion, inform manager early. Now the next important step was transparency. So to maintain transparency and consistent communication with the manager, we take this step, that we inform manager early. After we have informed the manager early, manager just don't want the question or the problem, manager asks for the solution to, he expects the solution to, that is our main motto. So we present updated completed plan. Now in the action part we present completed updated plan. So these are the 4 steps. First, to analyze the issue. Second, we estimated realistic timeline. Third, we informed manager early, we maintained the transparency. And fourth, not only communicating with the manager but also providing an extra strategic way, that means we presented a completion plan, that this is how we can plan. So this was our 4 step actions we took. Now how will it, as an interview, how will I tell this thing? Look, so in interview I'll be telling like this. First, I would perform a quick impact analysis to identify completed work, remaining tasks, technical blockers, dependencies, and the estimated time before required for the completion. I am gently requesting for all the analysis, that first I would perform a quick impact analysis to identify completed work, the remaining tasks, technical blockers, dependencies, and the estimated effort required for completion. Now second, Instead of waiting until the last moment, I would proactively approach my manager with a clear status update and a recovery plan. Instead of waiting until the last moment, I would proactively approach my manager with a clear status update and a recovery plan. So by telling this, we are maintaining a transparent and a consistent communication with our manager. Now next, I would professionally communicate something like, after reviewing the current sprint progress and technical dependencies, I have identified a delivery risk affecting the planned timeline. While the core functionality is stable, a few critical components still require additional implementations and validations to meet production grade quality standards. So here we acknowledge that we actually need time for all the functionality which are not stable to need. So we actually explain the entire things very smartly from beginning again. So the actions we have taken, we start narrating. First, I would perform a quick impact analysis to identify completed work, remaining tasks, technical blockers, dependency risks, and the estimated effort required for completion. Instead of waiting until the last moment, I would proactively approach my manager with a clear status update and a recovery plan. I would professionally communicate something like, after reviewing the current sprint progress and technical dependencies, I have identified a delivery risks affecting the planned timeline. While the core functionality is stable, a few critical components still require additional implementations and validation to meet production quality standards. Rather than rushing unstable or partially tested features into deployment, I'd recommend and request for shorter extension to ensure proper testing, system reliability, and smooth release stability. I have prepared a mitigation strategy by prioritizing high impact modules, reducing non-critical scope where possible, and increase coordination to accelerate delivery efficiently. So again, we are starting the last block, how we have actually made a greater conclusion that rather than rushing unstable or partially tested features into deployments, I would recommend and request for, we are recommending and requesting for a shorter extension to ensure proper testing, system reliability, and smooth release stability. I have also prepared a mitigation strategy by prioritizing high impact modules, reducing non-critical scope where possible, and increasing coordination to accelerate delivery efficiently. So these are the actions we take to convince our manager for further extra time. Now comes the result part. As a result, the team gets early visibility into the delivery risks instead of facing a last minute escalation. So as a result, our team gets early visibility. That means our team is getting benefits. So manager might get convinced. Team gets early visibility into the delivery risks instead of facing a last minute escalation. This enables better sprint planning, informed prioritization, and smoother coordination across stakeholders. The additional time helps ensure proper testing, production readiness, and system stability, ultimately reducing the chances of deployment failures, technical debt, or customer impacting issues after release. So now we also inform manager about how this additional time helps. The additional time helps ensure proper testing, production readiness, and system stability, ultimately reducing the chances of deployment failures, technical debt, or customer impacting issues after release. So by far now we have completed the entire answer following the STAR method, that is situation, task, action, and result. So if you follow this situation, task, action, and result STAR method, you can answer any question in very structured way, and your probability of selection will be very high. I hope you like this answer, and now we'll be discussing about the key takeaways of this answer, that what are the key things that you must remember. First of all, here we never blame our teammates or any other external situations. We should not blame because corporate industry don't depend on blaming on each other. They believe on solution. So we are not blaming our teammates. Second, we never hide delays until the final moment because late communication damages talent. So we always maintain transparency here. That means no delay. We maintain a consistent transparency. Third, communicate the issue early with clarity, honesty, and professionalism. So we have maintained the communication early to maintain the clarity, honesty, and professionalism. Fourth, take ownership of the situation. We have taken ownership of the situation, and Amazon loves the ownership attitude. Among 18 of the core qualities of Amazon, they love the ownership attitude. present a realistic recovery plan. We have also presented a realistic recovery plan, that means solution plan. So not only in TCS interview, in Amazon interview also they will expect that type of question. I mean, when I gave the Amazon interview, I got a lot of interview questions relating all those things, not particular recording type of video, but yes, there are a lot of behavioral questions also. So if you keep watching these videos, it will help you in the behavioral round. So okay, I hope you like this video. We'll be meeting again in the next video. Thank you, that's all.